Auto insurance can all seem the same until it comes time to use it. So don't get stuck paying more for less coverage. Switch to USAA Auto Insurance and you could start saving money in no time. Get a quote today. Restrictions apply.
USAA. This is the way.
We wanted men.
I'm doing this on purpose so people can hear it, and this is the kind of week I've had.
I don't hear the fizz. I don't hear the.
Yep. And it's crappy beer too to begin with because I ran out of beer. It's Blue Moon, which is a good all-around beer, but it's not what I normally drink. It's my that's our kind of, we're going to a party and we only want to buy one beer.
Oh.
You know, I like different things than the wife likes. So, yeah. So, Jason, how's your week going? I know, or your month. It's been like a month since we recorded.
It's been 4 weeks. It's been up and down.
Yeah, we can get into the up and downs in a little bit because it's going to be one of those episodes. It's going to get heavy, but we're going to try to make it fun.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes life throws lemons at you and it stings your eyes. Instead of making lemonade, you're just too stung to make anything with it.
And you've had a few instances of that in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I was supposed to go up to Syracuse for FonsCon. Fonz up there puts on his Saturday kind of a meetup, but it goes from like 1 till whenever people leave.
Basically 1-to-1. It's pretty insane.
Yeah, and I had bought tickets and I was ready to go. I bought tickets on an airline, which I'll not name because they did in the end make it right. Spoiler alert. But on my way to the airport, like it was a Friday to Sunday. So I was leaving late Friday night, coming back Sunday late so I could see some other friends on Sunday morning. And normally it's 30 minutes. I mean, if there's no traffic, it takes about 35 minutes to get to the airport. If there is traffic, it's like an hour. And that Friday, it was like an hour and a half.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, the traffic was just insane. So we left early. And, I'm getting down towards 20. And I get my wife's driving me, so I can just hop out of the, what they call it, duck and roll. Open the door, I'll duck and roll out. And I get a text message that the flight has been delayed 30 minutes. And that sucks because when I arrive into Washington, D.C., because it was not a straight flight, I would arrive at 9:59 and my next flight would take off at 10:06.
Oh my.
There was like 6 or 7 minutes like that, something like that, to get to the next flight. And my wife said there was one time when they were flying up to Syracuse from Atlanta, and there was enough people on the flight, the delayed flight, that they were forced to hold the flight leaving to Syracuse. So I get on the phone with the guy before I even get to the airport, and I'm like, is that even a possibility? He's like, that's a decision they make on the ground. That's not something I have any I'm not privy to, and I can't tell you what the decision is yet. He said, but there is a flight leaving 7 a.m. tomorrow, which would have been Saturday, and it gets in at 12:35. And I'm like, no, I'm getting there tonight. Which just goes to show, be flexible and adaptable, because had I known, I would have taken that and I would have gotten to Syracuse.
Right.
By the time I got to the airport, that flight was gone. There was nothing they can do. We were looking at, my wife came in with me because we weren't sure what was going on. We're looking at her phone, and she's like, there's a flight to Charlotte that'll get you to Syracuse at 12:30 midnight. I'm like, yeah, let's do that. And by the time we get to the desk, she's like, no, that flight's not leaving. We're like, but it says that it's going to connect. And she's like, no, that's just going to get delayed even more. And so I was just punked around a lot. The guy on the phone told me it was a delay because of the crew change, like the crew that flew the plane in was not going to fly the plane out. So that caused the delay. But when I got to the counter, she said it was a weather delay. I'm like, well, the dude on the phone said this. No, it's a crew delay because of weather.
Jesus.
Meanwhile, I'm looking at a Delta flight that's supposed to leave and left, no problem, no weather issue. And the Delta flight was straight to Syracuse. And I was like, well, put me on this flight. And they're like, well, if you buy a ticket for that, we'll comp your flight home. I'm like, I'm not spending another $300. And in the back of my mind, they've already they haven't been as completely honest as I felt like they could have been.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'll get up there. And then the next thing you know, I'm paying even more money now to fly back because, they're just not, I just didn't get the honest feeling from them. And so I didn't do that and I went home. I didn't get the flight. And then the other weird thing was like, well, I was like, I just want a refund. And they're like, well, we can cancel the flight, but we can't issue a refund until after the trip. I'm like, after the trip? She's like, yeah, on Sunday when you fly home. I'm like, I'm not flying to Syracuse. You guys aren't putting me on the flight too. So how am I supposed to come back?
Jeez.
But yeah, it was really frustrating and I was really bummed. And, like I said, it kind of felt like I was just sour all weekend and I was trying to do things like we went for a hike and I had a really nice day with my wife. And I feel bad because it's always fun to hang out with her, but I was in such a bad mood because I wasn't supposed to be there. And there was a couple of times where I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm supposed to be in New York. And I'm
not supposed to be here today.
Yeah. I was looking forward to that for, I don't know, a month and a half.
Yeah, dude, you were.
And it still burns. Because, and the other thing is, I've put in so much, I'll call equity into the community, doing things, showing up to Zoom chats and going to meetups and doing anything and everything I could help with in the summer social. And it was with the intent that one day when everything opens up, I can go to these places and meet people in person. And I can't do the New York one. And of course I have a family wedding up in Michigan, so I can't do the Georgia one either.
Oh, I feel so bad for you, dude.
And I am just like, oh, and then like in the chat, like I want you guys to have fun and I want you guys to be happy with all the people that are showing up. So I'm really happy that it's going to be a great event. But then then in the chat they'll be like, so and so is coming maybe, and I'm like, oh, come on. Why does the circumstances have to stink?
I keep telling you, man, call your cousin and say you're not coming. You got more important stuff to do.
Oh, I can't do that. My grandmother's getting up there.
Yeah.
I just lost my grandfather earlier this year. And so it's just, there's some things that are more important.
Yeah, that's I didn't put grandparents into perspective because,
yeah,
I'm kind of dealing with the same thing on my end with 4th of July, because my family down there, they're still freaking out about coronavirus, and we normally stay with my aunt and uncle, and they're being honest with me because they've told their grandkids for the past year and a half, no, you can't come to our house and spend the night, and they don't want us going over there and spending the night, and they don't know what we're bringing. And even though we're vaccinated, my uncle's in his late 50s, and he had a heart attack at like 35, 40, so he's got health issues. And my grandmother's in the same, she's 90, 92. So it's, yeah. I want to go down there to see my grandma. So when you say grandma, you're tugging at the heartstrings.
Yeah. So yeah, it stinks. Life happens sometimes. I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to figure out what lesson I have to learn from this, because it's just frustrating, and I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. It'll be fun. Either way, I think you're going to have fun. You're going to get drunk. Are they going to have an open bar at the wedding?
I don't know. I'm not one to get drunk. It's very rare for me to get drunk. And so, I don't know. We'll see.
Just drink some hard ciders. You'll be
the other
right.
thing is, yeah. Well, that's so my mom got me a bunch of hard cider because she was thinking I was coming up. So when she's going to this wedding too, and she's going to be dropping off a bunch of 1911 because she had stocked up. So, and that's the other thing. Like, I can't party too hard Saturday night because I have to come home Sunday.
Oh.
It's like a 12-hour trip.
Yeah, that's not a fun trip, because I did it from New Orleans to here, and my wife, it was 5 or 6 years ago, and my wife still complains about it. Me making that trip hungover. It's not fun.
I don't want to do that. So I probably won't be getting drunk that night.
Yeah, we partied till like 3 in the morning and woke up about 11. And 9 and 10, everybody's like, okay, we're leaving the hotel. We're going back home. And, I get up to tell everybody bye. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm feeling good. And I get back up to the hotel room to start packing up. And then it hits me and it just stayed with me.
Yeah.
For like a 6-hour trip.
Yeah. I don't want headaches. I don't want to be exhausted because then I'll get short with the kids in the car. And I don't want to be like that. And I'm getting tired of driving everywhere.
Right. And you don't want to fly.
No.
So did they just, because you had talked that they were giving you a credit, did they give you your money back?
Yeah. So they weren't going to, they gave me a credit. And then I messaged them and I just told them my experience and I just listed everything in all my frustrations. And they did give me a refund. They did make it right. And then they did give me $125 credit if I choose to fly with them. And I'm like, dang it, because I got to fly out to Celebration next year. But then again, I want to make sure I get there.
Yeah. Maybe use it on your flight home or something, or you can at least say, hey, I'm delayed,
Yeah.
You can always tell work I couldn't get a flight. And right now there's not a whole lot they can do about that.
Right. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I just need to be more flexible in my travel.
Right.
And the other thing is I would have taken more time and not gone Friday night to Sunday night, but I ran out of vacation time, which reset 3-4 days later.
Oh geez.
And if I really wanted to, I could have worked something out with work, but I'm not trying to rock the boat or anything like that. So just trying to be a nice guy, and it just stunk. We had made cups for Fonz. So I had to get David Quinn.
Dude, give him props for that, man.
Saint David Quinn went to my house and picked up the box and brought it to Fonz. So I really appreciate that, David. That was taken care of, made me feel better. And then David called me after he picked up the box to kind of say that the package has been secured. And he's such a good guy that I felt so much better after talking to him.
Yeah.
Just about life in general. And then I was able to, go out and hang out with my wife and try to move from the situation.
It looked like you made the best of a bad situation.
Yeah, we went for a hike and it was nice to get out. And I did buy some Star Wars figures that Saturday in Marietta.
Yeah, what'd you get?
There's some Power of the Force 2. There's a Boba Fett, and I don't have a carded Boba Fett Power of the Force 2, so I picked that up. It's got enclosed circles on his hands, like full circles. It doesn't have the half circles, which I'm still on the hunt for. And then I also got a Jedi Luke Power of the Force 2, but this one is the brown vest variant.
Ooh.
So, I mean, that line just had so many different variants. Long saber, short saber, long saber tray, close up Obi-Wan, far away Obi-Wan. On the back, there was the light colored Jedi Luke, and I can go on and on, but yeah, I was able to pick that up for $9 or something like that.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't had that. My wife's had a way better Star Wars week or a couple of weeks than I have. The only thing I got recently, they just came in today. I kind of cheated on our buddy Ian Sanderson at the Acrylic Master. Gonk Toys in California had a really good deal going. Plus, they had a Super 7, I think it is, does the 3 3/4 figures. They had done a San Diego Comic-Con Marty McFly with a hoverboard card back, and it's like a foot. It's like it looks like the card back's like a foot big, foot long. And Gonk Toys were the only people that did a case for it, an acrylic case for it. So I got that case, and then I got a 25th anniversary Black Series case from them because they were doing free shipping and 10% off, and it was one of those where they just had a ton of markdowns.
Yeah, they're trying to get your business.
Yeah, so they're cool cases. They just came in today. They shipped them. It took about a week for them to come in from California, so that was pretty good. I think they mailed them shipped them UPS 3 or 4 days ago, and they got here today. Mm-hmm. And I opened them up before the show and put them together, and there's some pretty cool looking cases. I mean, they're on par with the Ian stuff. I think they're a little bit thinner, but I'm happy with them.
Good.
Yeah. But Yeah, my wife actually, we went up to Second Chance a couple of weeks ago, and she brought some stuff in and traded. She got a Tri-Logo Wicket mint on card.
Very good.
Yeah. So, unpunched. She's in the background messing with her stuff right now. I got it
Yub.
unpunched.
Yub.
Yeah.
Yub.
And she got some micro collection.
Micro machines.
Yeah, micro machines. You're actually jealous of these, I think. The Ewoks with like an alternative card back or something. You know more about them than I do, but I guess they have like an X-wing on normally on them, but then these have the characters on them, something alternative card back. So, and then she got a low grade today?
Today I got a bag Tebow.
A bag Tebow. She got a bag Tebow from. We went down to, we were going to go up to Charlotte. We had plans to go to Charlotte to Heroes Con this weekend, so we had taken today off, and Heroes Con was canceled a couple of months ago. And middle of the week, my supervisor looks at me and goes, "You got Friday off?" And I went, "Huh." So then I come home and I ask Mandy, I'm like, "Do you still have Friday off?" She goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, cool. I'm taking it too." So we shot down to Noonan and hit Full Circle and Atlanta Brick Company, and I think it's called Heroes Comics. There's a few stores down there that we hit, and then she had found she got that bag Tebow, and then we went to another antique store and she found like a handmade Wicket or a handmade Ewok, just a generic Ewok. Just I don't want to say bootleg because it's too good to be a bootleg, but just a handmade Ewok, which is cool.
Yeah.
She likes the oddball stuff.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I did get some micro machines on Deal or No Deal.
Yeah. Which ones you get?
I got vehicles, like the 3 of the first 6, and then after that they released like 2 versions in Star Wars packaging, and then 2 in Empire and 2 in Return of the Jedi. But then after that, they were just like, let's just do Star Wars Roman numeral 1, Star Wars 2, Star Wars 3. So they would just number it from there on, so they didn't have to put the movie. And I got like 7 of those, and they're pretty good in package on the card, because a lot of those people just didn't care about the micro machines as much as they did for the vintage ones. So 99 times out of 100, you're gonna find micro machines that are pretty beat up. And these are pretty good. So I was pleased with that.
Awesome.
And then I did get Black Series Hunter, Clone Trooper, which is the black one from Bad Batch. I got the Rocket Trooper from a Jedi Fallen Order, and Asajj Ventress. All Black Series.
I need to get that Visage because, that's a cool figure.
It's a really good figure. The colors pop on her. It's a nice blend of purple and blue, and that's a really good figure.
Yeah. What about I know we got like a month's worth of news to go over. Do you have anything that you want to highlight or
I mean,
do you have anything you want to gripe about?
Yes.
How Walmart screwed up
Of
things.
course. I mean, Walmart's so today, the day we're recording this, Walmart released a Hunter and a what was it? Rex from the Black Series from Bad Batch. I got lucky. I got them both, but I guess they sold out like shortly after that. And their prices were off a little bit. Like Rex was $30.
Jesus.
And the Hunter Crosshair was $25. And it's like, why is it so much more expensive? Because he's got a cloak wrapped around him.
He's got a new hat.
Not only that, we just got Rex a couple weeks ago in the Target exclusive, and they're re-releasing him again in the Redbox line at the end of the year.
I guess they figured they had him in production, so why not boost it?
It's just so frustrating when you get these repacks. It's so frequent like that too. And then I'm banging my head because they're re-releasing Rex in that Redbox line. Why are they doing that? They have a whole new line that they can just release all these in. I still need that Tusken Raider in the Redbox line to finish that collection. And it's $60-$80, but then they released it in the Archive series. And why do we still have the Archive series? Because we have the new version of the packaging. And so now we have like 3 different lines going on. like everything, they have a 501st, they have a Leia archive coming out. Those could be on the new box. We don't need the archive anymore. Just release it in the regular line.
I don't know,
They're just, it just feels like they're abusing us to get more money.
dude. And
They're sucking on our addiction.
yeah, and I was reading through the post today that you guys had on going, and I felt like, you guys could stop at any time, and if you guys stop buying, Hasbro will get the message. They'll eventually get it, because I feel your pain. It's like, like you said, they all they did was throw a cloak on Rex, and they get everybody for $30 more.
Yeah,
but
you're absolutely right.
Yeah, and I see your point with the new packaging, because that's what they did with the Rebels. Instead of releasing them in the archive, they released them in the new packaging.
Yeah, it's just, and like the whole point of the archive was so that they can re-release figures and preserve the value of the original.
Right.
But they're not doing that because they re-released Rex. They did that with Grievous and the Gamorrean Guard, and I'm doing this all on the top of my head, and the Jedi Fallen Order Trooper. I can't remember what his name was. He came out with the game, and then they re-released it. And so it's just like, what is going on? You're just trying to make money? Like, I mean, that's obviously the motive of every corporation, but are you trying to get more money from us?
That's
abuse us.
They are. I mean, if we're going to keep buying them, they're going to keep producing them. I mean, truthfully, that's and it's everybody is like, I gotta have it, and I feel your pain, because there's stuff that I'm like, but I'm not a big Black Series collector because it's so frustrating to get the figures. So I've taken a step back, and then when there's a figure I really want, I gotta have it, and it's, then you got to go through all the BS of getting it. But then, like today, when I'm at Full Circle, there's stuff sitting on their shelf. They had the Rebel Trooper, Black Series Rebel Trooper in the 40th packaging for $15. And I should have picked it up, because I've heard that figure's awesome, because you can change the faces and stuff on it. Yeah. And there, you can arm it. It's a figure it lends itself to army building very easily. Yep. And I don't know. It's me being cheap, I guess, because then I'm going to open up a can of worms I don't want to open up with that figure.
The other thing that frustrates me with the whole Hasbro thing is they had this whole live stream where they pretty much announced, for the most part, except for the Black Series archive and then some updates to the Rogue One stuff, there's a lot of newness in the line.
Yeah.
For the vintage collection, it was the Mithril, there's Bo-Katan, Quill, the Republic Trooper, and the Hoth Rebel Soldier. Both were high in demand, and both I think are welcomed re-releases. And then they have a new Galen Erso, Antok, Merrick, and Bodhi Rook from Rogue One. And they were calling out on several occasions like what was new or what was reused. Like Antok Merrick, for the most part, was like the Luke Snowspeeder, just redecoed, and that's fine. But they were calling it out, and they were just kind of like trying to put out that fire before it happened. And then the next day they start releasing a bunch of different clones, and it's quite obvious those are just repacks. And then the following day or two, I mean, we've got the Power of the Force stuff, which is all repacks, the Black Series Power of the Force, Greedo, Luke, and Han, Clone Troopers, and Walmart and Walgreens. It's just, I think a lot of people are exhausted from the repacks, and I understand why they do it, but I don't know.
Yeah, those Power of the Force 2 are the repacks no one wanted.
Yeah.
But it was like, let's pick the one part of the line that everybody hates and let's re-release it.
Yeah. It's weird. I mean, they're celebrating the 50th anniversary, and I understand why they did it, but it feels like, what else can we just suck money from them, for? Let's just re-release this. Well, we have this Rex mold. Let's pump that out 3 times. And so it's just frustrating.
Yeah. And couldn't they, I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough about the Clone Troopers, because I'm just now getting into Clone Wars and Clone Troopers with Bad Batch and everything. Isn't that something they can just repaint it? Or is it they have to do the Rex? I mean, I guess the Rex head is, proprietary, but the body is.
The body is different for the most part. But Rex is almost the same figure. 3 times.
Jesus.
And I appreciate it when they try to recolor it. They might do something a little different with the face, and they've done that before with the wolf and what's the mustard guy? I can't remember.
I don't know, dude. Like, yeah.
Bly. I was looking for him. And I do appreciate that. Like that for me is like a creative repack where you're getting something new. You can line them up, but they're all different because they all have different colors. But I don't know. I feel like I'm going down this rant for too long, but it's nothing new. I think a lot of people are feeling that.
Right.
The thing I think they did announce a Black Series HasLab, and the first thing I felt was it's going to be a Rancor.
That's what a lot of people are calling out, man.
And that would be cool. However, I don't think that's going to be a $300, $350 price tag. I think that's the sweet spot for those HasLabs, $350. And I think that's closer to $200. And what I'm really afraid of, because that Darksaber was what, $200, $250?
Yeah.
That it's going to be one of these role-playing things.
Huh.
And that's just what I'm afraid that this HasLab's going to be. It's not going to be the figures that people want. It's not going to be a place that it's going to be like a Stormtrooper blaster because you can't sell the guns anymore.
Right. I've never heard that. I like that the way you're going with that. I've never.
I don't like where I'm going with that.
I under a Stormtrooper blaster for $350 would be pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah.
But I know you can get unlicensed stuff for that. That's it's just like the sabers. You can go get unlicensed stuff for the same stuff they're selling the Black Series for that are dueling that you can duel with.
Yeah.
So maybe it is a role play thing. That I mean, I kind of go the other way. I think that would be cool, but yeah, I think a lot of people would feel ripped off if they we did a Stormtrooper blaster or we did a DL-44, which is Han Solo's blaster. Maybe that's what they want to do, but do they really want kids playing with quote unquote guns nowadays or what? I mean, even though it's not a kid's toy, is that somewhere that Hasbro wants to go?
Yeah. I don't know. Time will tell. I hope it's not. I hope it's, action figures.
Right. And I also heard somebody say something about the Rancor. If you're going to do a Black Series Rancor, you're expecting people to have the Jabba, which is a 4 or 5 year old figure.
Yeah. Well, that's approaching the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi when they're going to start pumping all those out on card backs. So they could delay it a year and a half and get that around 2023.
Yeah. Or unless they're going to do something crazy like package it with the Jabba. And then you got the whole Jabba's throne room, like because they did a Black Series version, a smaller, like a 3 3/4 Black Series version.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. So that's all the action figure news. There's tons of other news.
Yeah,
that I've collected. I haven't had much to drink, believe it or not.
Well, let's just talk, man. What else you got going on? What else you got?
I was happy to hear JJ say this. Did you see what he said about Rise of Skywalker and the lack of pre-planned storytelling?
Yes.
Good
job.
I was right. He says, you have to plan things as best as you can, and you always need to be able to respond to the unexpected, and the unexpected could come in all sorts of forms. And I do think that there's nothing more important than knowing where you're going. Having a plan, I have learned in some cases the hard way, is the most critical thing, because otherwise you don't know what you're setting up. You don't know what to emphasize, because if you don't know the inevitable of your story, you're just as good as your last sequence or effect or joke or whatever, but you have to be leading to somewhere inevitable.
Yeah.
And I am right.
They just said, let's make Star Wars.
Yeah, I think it's hit, like, metaphorically, he was passing the baton. He's passing it off he's passing the lightsaber to Rian Johnson, who didn't see The Force Awakens, didn't actually sit in a theater and get the feeling and the pacing and the excitement of The Force Awakens. And so he made his own Star Wars movie based on what he thought Star Wars was. And that's why there's the disconnect between the energy. And then JJ comes swinging back, and they do that insane forced jump sequence where they're just jumping from planet to planet to planet to planet, and it's just like, whoa, I got to catch my breath. What the hell is going on?
Right.
It's just jarring, and the lack of vision for that sequel trilogy, I think he's owning up to it, and I appreciate that, and hopefully he's going to learn from that. And then I mentioned this before, and I'm talking too much. And
That's
on
all right.
Lost, they were rewriting the pilot. They had shot the pilot. JJ came in. He started changing things up. There's going to be a hatch, and the writers were like, Damon Lindelof was like, "What's in the hatch? Don't worry about it. I'll figure it out later." Well, you kind of have to know what's in the hatch. Where are you going? It's not just about the mystery. Yeah, the Vintage Collection archive book was delayed until September, which I understand is frustrating because we want the book, but I do think that they're making some pretty cool changes to it based on what they've communicated to us so far. I don't know anything more inside baseball, but it does seem like it's going to be worth the wait. And I think it's kind of short-sighted because if it's released in September, next year this time, we're going to have an amazing Vintage Collection book worth the wait. We don't have to wait for the second version or sequel or anything like that. We'll have a comprehensive book that'll have everything we want in it in one place. We don't have to spend, another $50-$60 on another version. So
yeah, and those are good guys too, man. I mean, I know they're working hard at trying to get it right. And the way it really right now really sucks because you can't get anything like you used to right now. You order a couch, you're 6 to 8 months out when you order a couch, where you can get it, the next day.
Yeah.
Stuff at my work, we're running into it because, we've got, we're trying to get stuff in from one of our suppliers, and we keep getting emails saying we don't have any drivers. And it's been 2-3 weeks since we've gotten product in. And it's in Lawrenceville. I'm in Norcross, and it's in Lawrenceville, and they can't get it from Lawrenceville to Norcross. So, I mean, that's how bad things are right now.
Yeah. Lumber's starting to come down.
Yeah. How much money did you save on lumber?
I didn't save. I'll tell you that much. I'm working on a project right now, and I'm trying to build some cantina furniture, and I bought some wood yesterday, and that was $120. Jeez. It was a lot for plywood and some not pretty wood, I'll say. Mm-hmm. Not like the best mill wood, because you're not going to see it. It's the inside of the furniture, but yeah, and it's coming down, but it's still expensive, man.
Wow.
That'll get better.
Yeah.
It has to. So Bob Chapek was at an investor conference or a shareholder meeting. I don't remember which one. This was a couple of weeks ago. But he was talking to people. He was talking to the audience, and he said, in the end, as you know, in entertainment, it's really about content. I think basically we've got 6 Marvel titles. We've got Black Widow, Shang-Chi, Loki, and Hawkeye. We've got What If. We've got all these great stories coming to Disney Plus, Han Solo, Boba Fett from Star Wars. And it was like, what?
Oh.
Was that? Hello? What was that? That was a slip.
Right.
Where did that come from?
Oh, my.
So, I mean, that's his quote. I don't know if Han Solo will appear in Boba Fett. That'd be awesome, but.
Woo! That was a good one. I didn't hear him mess up. That's the first time I'm hearing that, dude.
He messed up.
Wow.
He was talking about all the content, all the titles. So we'll see if Alden will appear again as Han Solo.
Because there's a big push to make Solo 2 happen, and there's the Lando series that's coming out, so maybe that'll be more, have some Han Solo in it. But speaking of Boba Fett, of the Book of Boba, they've actually said that they are going to cover that era of him falling into the Sarlacc to what happens in The Mandalorian. So they're going to cover some of that era. So we're going to get to see, some of that time. So that'll be cool. So maybe Han Solo pops up.
Yeah. Along with Cobb Vanth and
Dude,
the
I was
Mandalorian.
thinking about that today.
Yep. Cobb and Mando. They're supposed to be in it, according to rumors. In addition to everyone's favorite Trandoshan, Bosk.
Yes.
Those are the rumors.
Oh, did you see Bad Batch? Did you finally watch it?
Yes, I did.
Yes. Dude, I felt so bad for you.
Yeah.
Because it was spoiled. I was talking to you and I'm not going to spoil it too for you, but oh my God, it gets so much better because it got good last week. It got okay last week. It started catching up. And I was a little upset with okay, so all right.
I was right about
Spoilers.
that too.
Yeah, we're gonna go spoilers because we're gonna talk about last week and this week of Bad Batch right now. We're jumping all over the place. It's been forever since we recorded, so we got a lot to catch up on. But last week I was a little upset with the inhibitor chip because it didn't. I thought that would be like a whole episode, not 15, not 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But I thought they did good building on that this week because they were still in the Jedi ship, and Ray, saw whatever the guy's name, shooter, what the sharpshooter guy, Crosshair. He shows up, and then they have the epic, battle between him and Crosshair, and I'm like, oh, cool. It was a great episode. It was a good episode this week, and now it's starting to get some action, and you're like, great, Omega is doing her thing, and
I'm Omega,
and they're doing her and Wrecker are back to being best buddies, and then it was just cool because they were the Crosshair's acting like the Empire, and everybody's like, well, he's not going to do this, like turn the engines on, and then they turn the engines on, and then they're like, we're going to do the charges, which will do this, and then Crosshair gets hurt, and I'm jumping all over the place, but I mean, stop me when you want to say something because I'm waiting for the end before I'm waiting for the big reveal before I say it. But then at the end, you hear the voice. You see them get back to the ship at the end, and there's a stormtrooper laying or a clone trooper laying there, and you're like, they're freaking out because they're like, this isn't the clone trooper, and you're like, okay, is that what's her? First, you find out the Trinotians are the ones that are hiring the bounty hunters to get Omega back, because now you realize that there's really something wrong with, or not wrong, but they're hiding Omega's something more than just a clone. There's something about her, so they revealed that this episode. And then when
we kind of knew that though,
right? But now they're reoccurring it that she's important enough to hire bounty hunters to hunt her down.
Right.
And then when they get back to the ship, there's a clone trooper that has been killed, and Hunter's like, oh my God, this isn't, Crosshair's work. This is a bounty hunter's work. And then you hear the voice, and I went, oh shit. And it's Cad Bane.
Cad Bane. He's got a smaller hat.
Yeah, he does.
I appreciated his appearance in this one because he got down to business. He won, like they went full out Western, which I loved.
Mm-hmm.
He knocked out Hunter, and he knocked out Omega, no problem.
Right.
And it's just like, that's the badass bounty hunters that I want to see. I don't want to see them fail, because that was the frustrating thing. Like, he was always losing to Ahsoka and Anakin in the Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to the point where he's more of a joke than a formidable foe. And that's not the case in this episode. He got down to business and he kicked ass.
Right.
So I liked it.
Yeah, and you got to see a couple of cool shots from inside the helmet, because with Crosshair and with Hunter, when Hunter he recovered from the shot, you're seeing him, you're got a heads up display in his helmet, and you could see everybody, so you see his point of view when he comes back to quote unquote life, or comes back to whatever reality. And it was just, I thought the writing on the writing was the writing, but the cinematography, and I know that's the wrong term because it's a cartoon.
No, there is a cinematographer in cartoons. I mean, where do you put the camera when you're filming a 360 degree sequence?
Okay.
Because they animate the 360 degrees, like they make a model and then they put the people moving in the model, and then you got to figure out where you put your camera. And so there is some cinematography that goes into animated series.
Well, then the cinematography, I will call it what it is then. I thought the cinematography in this was great with those couple of extra shots that we've never seen before.
I agree.
And it's like, all right, cool. This show is what I've been waiting for how many episodes it's been. For 8 weeks. I've been waiting for this show to show up, and it shows up this morning, which I was amazed with this episode. Now, this is what I was expecting from this season, from this show, was what I got today.
I loved Cobb. What am I? I'm looking at pipeline reveals. Cobb Vanth is coming.
Dude, I am so happy. That's the first one that I've been like, yes, because I love that figure. I love that character. I can't wait for that Black Series to come out. But anyway.
Yeah, but
We'll get
Yeah.
back to Cad Bane.
Cad
quick,
Bane is
and then
awesome.
we'll
He was
jump
just
back to-
awesome.
Yeah, he's a cool character, and I was talking to somebody today, just shooting the crap because about stuff, and then we got talking about other things, and he's like, "Well, I'm just now watching Clone Wars," and I'm like, "You've got to watch Clone Wars." Dave Filoni has done such a good job of intermingling and weaving Clone Wars into modern day Star Wars lore. Because if
Mhm.
you haven't watched the 7th season of Clone Wars, you won't get Rebels, you won't get Bad Batch, you won't get Mandalorian.
Yeah.
You won't understand what's going on in all these episodes. You won't understand the nuances that happen. You won't understand why Ahsoka and Darth Maul have a beef in Rebels if you haven't watched Clone Wars.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's
very
just-
rich.
Yeah, he's done such a good job with that, and I kind of hate that you got to put that much time into it. I hate as a quote unquote, but you get so much out of those 7 seasons of Clone Wars, man. It's wow. And then when you
Absolutely.
watch it after, rewatch everything on top of knowing what's going on in Clone Wars, you can thank me later.
You're preaching to the choir here.
Right.
It's this is for the people who have never seen any of this stuff and need to be sold on why should I sit and watch 4 days worth of continuous episodes of cartoons.
All right. But they're not cartoons. They're so much more than cartoons.
I know, but for people who don't want to invest their time, it's just cartoons to them.
Right. But it's Star Wars, man. Wow.
It's good Star Wars.
It's good. But now Bad Batch is finally getting good. Like I said, after 8 freaking weeks of going, where the heck is this thing going? It finally showed us today.
Yeah, but that seems to be their I don't know, their formula for telling these stories over extended periods of time, where there's a couple build-up episodes, and later on in the season, these characters will come back and it'll all gel. Everything will just intersect perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't imagine if some of the characters that we've met that felt like they're just spinning wheels are actually meant to do something in the end of the Bad Batch.
Right. But yeah, that was what I've been waiting. Yeah. It saved my hope in Bad Batch this morning. What a great episode.
It was.
So yes, Cobb Vanth is coming into the Black Series.
Yep.
Yay.
So is Nomad Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, Miggs Mayfield in a tank trooper disguise, which is like, can't make the full body. You got to repack something, huh?
Yes, you do.
Return of the Jedi Bib Fortuna is coming, which is obviously another preparation for the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi, so they can put that on the card back.
At least that's a new figure, because I know
It is.
they've been wanting people. Didn't
I'm
they also
excited.
say Lobot?
Lobot is coming for the vintage collection line, along with another Bib Fortuna
Okay.
and the Navarro playset for the vintage collection. And then there's also the Jedi Patrol Stormtrooper, which I think just has a different kind of pauldron on his shoulder.
Just paint it a different color. They won't know.
Right. Which I'm fine, whatever.
So that's what excites me, is when they're going to bring Bib, well, they're not doing it in black. They're doing it in the vintage line, but
They're doing both for Bib.
oh, they are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lobot
awesome.
is the only one that's coming for the vintage.
Okay. Gotcha. Do the figures we hadn't seen yet. I understand them wanting to, stick it to scalpers, but or resellers rather, but you're sticking it to everybody else too, not just them.
Well, somebody had pointed out that, I forget who, it was another podcast. I'm sorry. Should quote them. I think it might have been Yakface, that Ara Singh was part of the pipeline reveal earlier this year, and then their next live showcase, whatever you want to call it, they revealed Ara Singh. So it's not like you're deep in the pipeline. It's almost like this is a preview of what you'll see next time.
Yeah. Huh. Hey.
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like,
Right.
that's the expectation we should have with these pipeline reveals, that they're not showing us something 2-3 years down the road. They're showing something that's pretty close to production.
All right.
Forrest Whitaker is apparently coming back as Saw Gerrera in Cassian Andor show.
Like, dude, yeah. Speaking of shows, I'm gonna.
Lies! Deceptions.
I wonder if he's going to be an older, still like he's going to have to be an older, but maybe not just, he could be more man than machine.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. Have you
But
seen,
there was a co-star that said that they were happy they got to work with him.
Man.
And so it's like, oh, okay. Well, I guess he's in the show.
Did you see the pictures of Ian McGregor walking around with a black robe on?
Ewan McGregor?
Ewan McGregor, whatever.
Yes,
Obi-Wan.
I did. Yes. That's very exciting.
Yeah. And then they have all the cast are walking around with black robes on, and you got the one guy that's a stormtrooper that just don't care.
Yeah, I mean, a stormtrooper's a stormtrooper. We kind of pretty much figured that was going to be in the show.
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see what they're doing with this show.
Can you find that audio you sent me real quick that you shared with me? I can't find it. I was going to, speaking of clone troopers and stormtroopers, the one of him and,
Yeah.
Is it handy? Do you know where to find it?
It's in my Gmail, but I don't know if.
That's where it is. Did you send it to me on Gmail?
I sent it in Gmail. Yeah.
All right. Well, let me find it in Gmail. So let's,
Should I cue it up?
yeah. Can you
So-
cue it up real quick?
Yeah. Ewan McGregor and Pedro Pascal.
All right. I've got it. I found
Okay.
it. I just
They
gotta
did like an actor on actor, which was sponsored by Variety. And it's only 30 minutes long. So if you just want to put it on, it's on YouTube. And you can just put it on and listen to it. It's pretty interesting. Pedro did confirm that he hasn't shot anything for season 3, to which I say, come on. But I have something more to say about The Mandalorian in just a minute. But Ewan did talk about seeing stormtroopers for the first time. He's never acted with stormtroopers.
So yeah, this is that clip, and it's just, it's 30 seconds of gold.
I realized I've never acted with a stormtrooper because I did mine were clones, It was the clone army.
Yeah.
So I'd never seen
Right.
a stormtrooper. So when I was walking past in this scene, I turned around and I was like 6 years old again. Like,
Doesn't it do something
that's
to you?
something
Isn't it
so
complete?
insane. Like I was like feeling like I was 6 again or something because I was so close to one. I got a fright, So crazy.
So, oh wow, sorry. It's a here's another clip of Glenn crying.
Yeah. No, it's exciting. I mean, I love to see the Obi-Wan stuff on Tatooine. And I'm sure he's going off into space and he's leaving Luke behind to do something. But what? And how does
Right.
Anakin play into it? Why is Hayden back?
He's got to be more than just. They've got to be doing flashbacks or something because they wouldn't bring Hayden Christensen back and put him in a Darth Vader suit.
Yeah. I agree.
Unless you're going to see him in Darth Vader without the helmet on or something. But whatever. But anyway, yes, stormtroopers even get Obi-Wan Kenobi excited to see up live and in person.
That's just a great clip. And you can just hear his excitement to be like, it's an actual stormtrooper. That's his first time acting in a scene with a stormtrooper. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Even after 20 years in the franchise, he's not jaded. Like, there's still some love there for the character and for the world and for background actors,
Right. Yeah, that was just. Go ahead.
I did have, they asked Pedro about season 3 of Mandalorian, and after thinking about it some more, I'm like, do we really need a season 3? Because it seems like the first episode, he meets the child, he's protecting the child for 2 seasons, and then he's no longer protecting the child. So it seems like the arc is complete and possibly the story.
But then you've got Bo-Katan, and you got Moff Gideon, and you've got the Dark Saber, and
It could be over.
yeah.
Maybe-
Go ahead.
The only other thing is, like, maybe it's over as a series. Maybe we should just make it a movie.
Yeah. But I think the season 3, you're not going to see Baby Yoda. It's going to be him with the Mandalorians and the Dark Saber and Moff Gideon. There's going to be a whole storyline. I think they've got enough. They may not be a full season, but they've got a few episodes of that storyline that can play out. I really, truly think they're going to do a good job with that. But yeah, I think it. How much more does the Mandalorian have in it? Truthfully.
Yeah, and the actor who played Moff Gideon at one point said that we're going to get some really good answers season 5 or season 4 or something like that. Didn't he say something like that at the start of
Yeah.
season 2?
He really did. He said like season 4, season 5, some stuff would play out. And I don't know if they've got that much left in it.
But they've planned things out, unlike JJ. So that's awesome.
That's Dave
It's
Filoni.
one step ahead.
Yeah. Let Dave Filoni make some movies.
Yes. More Dave Filoni. John Favreau.
John Favreau, Dave
Too.
Filoni. Yeah. Wow.
There was a site called the Illuminati, and they're reporting that Barriss Offee will return in Ahsoka, which is interesting because she was in that last arc where she got framed. Ahsoka got framed by Barriss,
Mm-hmm.
and that caused her to leave. So, and we never knew what happened to Barriss after that episode. So maybe there's some revenge going on or something. I don't know.
That Ahsoka show is going to be, yeah. Rebels season 5. At least I hope. Like I said, dude, give me 2 seasons. Give me 2 episodes of Rebels. Let that storyline close, and I'll be happy.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to make the whole series or whole season Rebels season 5, but I'm hoping that, give me half of it. I'll be a happy camper. But yeah,
With all these frequent Marvel shows, I'm like, where's the Star Wars, guys? Come on.
yeah, dude.
More
Loki's
Star Wars. Loki is awesome.
I love it, man. Where there again, it started off slow, but now, boom, the end of the last season, the end of the last episode, you're like, this is getting good now.
Yep. Well, it's not Star Wars, but I'm very excited about Loki.
Dude, we can still talk Marvel, man. We talk Disney. I mean, we don't have to be, we could be like 90% Star Wars.
I like to stay in my swim lane. If I get out of my swim lane, I start to freak out. No, it's what am I doing? It's a good show. I don't know. I like Loki a lot. I like the mystery of it. Is that Enchantress? Is that variant of Loki?
Right. Yeah.
And I loved the changing of the what do they call them, timelines? It's just the possibilities. The grand finale of this year is Spider-Man. With all the rumors swirling that they've got old villains coming back, and it's like a multiverse kind of thing. Like if I see Alfred Molina as Doc Ock again, I am going to just literally crap my pants in excitement. I will not have any control of my bowels.
They're kind of doing the same thing. They're teasing the same thing with Batman too, right?
It's the Flash. Yeah, he's going into the multiverse, and he's going to see. I think even Ben Affleck's coming back as Batman for that one.
Right. And they're actually talking like they want to keep Ben Affleck's Batman with
this version of the Flash,
right, or whatever the league is, right, whatever Justice League, and then they can do whatever they want, which it's like that. I'm good with that. If you want to do that, let Ben Affleck stick with the Justice League scenario, and then let somebody else play Batman everywhere else. And I think we're smart enough, or we're not going to care as long as it's good content. But
yep.
I do have. We're trying to get to them, but we've got so much to talk about. It's been great.
Like you still want to talk about your Laser Crest?
Yeah,
Laser Crest. I haven't even finished my first drink. The Lego Razor Crest Escape Hatch. I have a note here that you wanted to talk about something, but I can't remember what it was.
It was because I built the Razor Crest, and remember, we talked about how in the Hasbro version of the Razor Crest they talked about the escape hatch, and we were just like, why would they do the escape hatch? That's really weird. Why would they release that? And as I'm building the Lego version of it, there was an escape hatch in the Lego version of it, which I was kind of like, and it comes out, you could put a figure in it. I mean, it's the playability's there with this escape hatch on the Lego Razor Crest, which I must say they did a heck of a job on this Lego Razor Crest. It's well worth the $100 and some odd that it is, because they've got the blocks, the carbonite blocks that slide in and out, and the missiles. They've got like a panel that slides down, and you can put the missiles in it, so you have like an armory. It's a very well thought out a Lego piece, and you understand why. Like, I mean, Legos are expensive, but when you get $130 piece and you see they've got a book that's 300 pages to tell you how to put it together, you realize why Legos are as expensive as what they are. But yeah, so they have a full escape pod you can put a figure in and everything. And I had posted in the group about it, and Thomas Satcher, Satcher. No, I totally butchered it. But apparently he had commented in my post that the designers, when they presented the Razor Crest to Dave Filoni, he was like, "What's this circle thing in it?" And they're like, "Oh, it's an escape pod." And he goes, "Huh, I didn't write one in, but leave it on the design and we'll figure something out later." So that may be the same thing with Lost, or maybe Dave Filoni has a thing for hatches that he'll figure out later.
Maybe. I don't. Yeah. They didn't go anywhere with that, so who knows?
Right.
Maybe it was something they thought they would add in, but after it got blown up, no need for that escape hatch anymore.
I really thought about just opening all the pieces and setting them on my shelf and there's the Razor Crest. Not even doing anything to them. Just leaving them.
Put a crater in the middle of your living room. There it is. And like a toothpick painted silver.
There it is. There's a Razor Crest.
There it is.
Oh, yeah. What a great Lego piece. I do have, before we go, I'm going to go over these and then I'll go into one more thing and then we'll go into the main topic. But anyway, shows. Huh?
We had a main topic this week?
Not a main topic, but I need to gripe. I need to get something off my chest and we'll get it off in it. You got to do that in a second. I want to go over all the shows that are coming up because there are, man, I tell you what, dude, the last half of this year, people are making up for 2020 and 2021, first half of 2021 being a crap, a crap show. Next weekend is Joe Fest in Augusta, where we will be there. We're going to road trip out there Saturday morning. Go check it out, where I'm hearing, I'm hearing it's a great show. There's going to be, I know some people from Cincinnati, some toy shops from Cincinnati is going to be down there. I know AFA is going to be down there. I've actually heard it's less Joes. It's still a lot of Joes, but it's less Joes than Toylanta. So, but that's exciting to me, but I'm just excited to get to a really big toy show again next weekend. Why did I put July? I don't know. Oh, July 10th is Spidey's Toys and Collectibles Show. That's in Brazelton. That's going to be a smaller show, but I think it's like $5 to get in. We'll be there with the club table. October 10th is really? I'm sorry. I don't know. I got to look at that, but I'm seeing October 10th for Legion Comic-Con, which I need to check that. Hold on a minute. Because that is the same day as the show in, let me look. I'm looking that up because that's the same day of the show in Cincinnati, the Cincinnati Toy Show. Oh, no, I'm sorry. There we go. I'm glad I looked that up. October 23rd is Legion Comic-Con. I got the date wrong on my notes. So October 23rd is Legion Comic-Con in Smyrna, Georgia, which our buddy Chris Hamer puts on. It's a really cool show. And then October 10th there's a Star Wars show in Cincinnati. September 18th and 19th is another show in Cincinnati, a Comic-Con. But anyway, let me just quote I think that's it that I've got. And then we've got our summer social. The club is July 17th.
Oh, God.
Jason can't come to because he's got a wedding.
I got a knife in my heart.
Oh.
It's all right. I'm back.
We're back. But
I'm back.
yeah, so it'll be another live from the toy show next weekend. So hopefully we can, get some good footage for that. But those are the toy shows that are coming up. So it's pretty exciting. And I'm actually Faith No More is playing in Cincinnati in September. So I get to go back to Cincinnati and I get to see Faith No More. Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Yay.
I was like, wait a minute, because they showed Newport, Kentucky, and then in parentheses it said Cincinnati. And I went, oh crap. It's like the perfect storm. So I get to go see an awesome show and get to go shop for toys. wow, I couldn't have asked
Mm-hmm.
for anything better. So
That's your dream vacation right there.
it is. And I have a wife that's like, let's go shopping, which makes it even better. But anyway, back to a little bit more serious stuff, but I'm just excited. I've been waiting for, like, I saw them in 15 and I was supposed to see them in 20 and that show got canceled. So then when I found out they were playing, and we were going to go to Chicago to see them and they were playing a big festival. And I told my wife, I'm like, let's just wait because they're going to play a smaller show that we could drive to, because you can kind of see that the shows, they're not going to stay out on the East Coast for a week and not do something, because the festival shows are like a week apart. And sure enough, they're playing Cincinnati, which is like a 6-hour drive, which if anybody can get to Cincinnati, you need to go to Cincinnati. Because if you're a Star Wars fan, it's Mecca. There's like 5 or 6, you could take 3 days. There's 5 or 6, 7, 8 toy shops that got good quality stuff. Go back and listen to our Cincinnati show. It's a cool town. It's just a cool vibe as far as Kenner goes. So anyway, yeah, I'm excited about that trip. But Avengers,
Sounds like it.
Yeah, just a little bit. I mean, it's starting
Just a
to
little
hit
bit,
me.
Mike.
Yeah, just a little bit. Because, man, and when I got my tickets,
starting to feel it.
I'm starting to feel it. Because yesterday when I got the tickets, they went on sale yesterday. And I get the tickets and Mandy calls me and she's like, she gives me the price of the ticket. I'm like, oh crap, I only got one ticket. And there were reserved seats and I got a really, really good seat. So I'm freaking out. She's trying to buy more seats. And because the way the venue is really weird, it's mostly general admission, but then you pay a little more and you can get a reserved seat. And she's like, I want a reserved seat because I want to sit down when I get tired. I don't want to be in a crowd of people, have a little bit more control. So long story short, I had one ticket. So I'm freaking out. I'm like, oh crap. So she's trying to get two tickets. And I said, you know what, let me just see about getting one ticket. So I was able to get seats 9 and 12. So we have 2 people between us on the same row in the same section. So I lucked up thank the maker when that came up. So I'm hoping the people between us will be like, oh yeah, y'all sit close to each other, or we're just going to be like yelling at each other over them and sharing beer and stuff and just be annoying. And they'll be like, yeah, y'all sit next to each other, because there's nothing worse than when you get to a show and you're sitting on a row or something, and then people show up and you're it doesn't matter. They're not getting a better seat than you're getting. You're in the same seat and you're already in the seats, and people are like, those are my seats. I'm like, well, you can have my seats, but those are my seats. Well, take my seats, and there's no advantage to one seat versus the other, except I'm already sitting here, or because I don't want to sit on top of somebody or whatever. And, I hope people aren't like that when we get up there. But anyway, it'll be a good show. I'm excited for it.
You'll have fun. You're good.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
You've got tickets. You're going to be in there. So
yeah, that's what really matters. But back to Avengers Campus. They have the Spider-Man ride, which is sort of like a shooting gallery ride, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just curious about this, and I want to know your feelings. Basically you play Spider-Man and you could do the web slinging thing, and it's sort of like their version of Toy Story Mania. But for $65, you can buy an arm or a hand that'll give you Iron Man, give you Captain America, give you, I don't know, I don't think it's Hulk, but, can give you these different options, and it'll make the ride play different for $65 for a 2-minute ride. Yep. That's the only time the game that the hand is good for, because it's worthless any other way. And I was just, I don't think that's fair, Disney. It separates, I can understand the lightsaber, man, because you're not, you're flaunting the lightsaber, but you're not taking it on Smuggler's Run and going and it's making this ride better because I have a lightsaber. I think it's poor planning on Disney's part. If they want to do something like that, do it $5 or $10, maybe even $25, but to make something like that, that's $65 to increase, make a ride better for 5 minutes that you're only going to be able to ride one day, because it's the same thing as, Rise of Resistance for the Cube.
You have to remember one thing about Disneyland is that's pretty much annual passes.
Right.
Like there's like a 90%, it's something high, like 80 to 90% of the people who go to Disneyland are locals. So these are people that are going over and over and over and over again. So if you want to change your experience, here's a $65 thing. They were also supposed to have this open last summer. And so this was supposed to be like season 2 kind of build up, add up, add on it, or whatever you want to call it. It was supposed to be available season 2. So it just stinks that for Disney, it stinks that they're releasing this. They're opening the ride and releasing this at the same time, which was not the original intent. With that said, Universal already made a really, really amazing Spider-Man ride. It's closer to us.
Right.
The Amazing Spider-Man at Universal Islands of Adventure is just one of the best rides I've ever been on.
Mm-hmm.
It's got everything you ever want. It's got the Sinister Six, Dr. Octopus, you're flying, Spider-Man's there, he's saving you, it's 3D, it's just an amazing ride. And anything that Disney tries to do pales in comparison. And it just goes to show that they're developing this ride to just make money. They have what? They have Midway Mania, or maybe they have Buzz Lightyear. They have a ride that's exactly like it out there.
Right.
So it's just a cash in. And it's just do something creative. Just make a ride.
Right.
I'm getting off my soapbox.
Yeah.
I'm getting worked up.
It's just, yeah, I do feel it's like a crappy cash grab, especially for $65, man. Like I said, make them like $20. Then, okay, cool. $20. To me, it just makes a lot more sense. But yeah, I don't know. And then I'm curious because you'll go to Universal and half of Universal is owned by Disney. Half of the IP in Universal is owned by Disney, which I just find hilarious.
Yeah, they own the Simpsons now. They own all of the Spider-Man Marvel stuff for the most part.
Yeah.
Can we take a break so I can refill my glass?
Go get your, let's take a break.
Today's story seems like one of those with multiple angles depending on your point of view, but in all reality is an open and shut case. A case of corruption. A case of absolute power corrupting absolutely. The Jedi, known for being guardians of peace for generations, attempted to overthrow the Emperor. That much we know. What we don't know, and what we'll explore in the coming weeks, is why this happened. Welcome to the Crime of the Millennium podcast, a 9-episode show where we dive deep into what went wrong nearly 20 years ago when these peace-loving monks decided it was time to seize the spotlight on the galactic stage. This is the story of how a group of individuals with seemingly good intentions can be misled down a dark path. It's the story of peacekeepers who find themselves in a position of power and are unable to let it go. This is the story of the Jedi, an organization of alleged force-wielding monks who monopolized on the power they cultivated and nurtured during the Clone Wars to overthrow the Republic. How did they arrive at that decision to stage a coup against our dear Emperor? Was it ego? Had they amassed too much power and were delusional in their sway over those they served? Amassing a collection of misplaced ideals can lead to displaced ego. Is this what the Jedi faced? Join me, Pog Sturwell, as we attempt to break this down and learn if ego is the result of the Jedi's menacing evil.
All right, guys, we're back. I hope you enjoy that podcast that Jason's going to work on, the little short podcast.
I don't think so.
He was just going to do it for that one little bit. And I'm like, dude, you need to keep this going, do like 5 or 6 episodes or 30-second things. Cause it's too good not to do. But all right, this is a topic and we're still hashing this out, but we need to get back to fun in this hobby. We need to get back to why we collect Star Wars and why we love Star Wars and why we still invest thousands of dollars in 40-year-old pieces of plastic. And, stop being like, this guy's got the more pieces of plastic than I do, or has got nicer pieces of plastic than I do. It's all about Star Wars, man. It's all about finding your childhood again and what makes you happy. And that's what we need to get back to in this hobby, quote unquote hobby. I mean, I don't know what else to call it, but it's a hobby. It's a hobby. It's fun. It's, 40-year-old pieces of plastic. And that's what people need. Jason, I mean, how do you feel?
I
know I'm throwing it to you, and it's a rough topic. And, I started collecting because it made me happy. It brought me back to a time in my life when I was happy, actually happy. I mean, I'm happy now, but I have a room full of toys that I can come down and just sit and decompress after a long day. While I'm having dinner, I'm looking at my art that's hanging in my dining room. I'm looking at my 92 run, that's sitting in my dining room, and my toys, and, my freaking, now I'm doing the things that I told people not to do. I'm looking at the collection that I have set up in my dining room because I've got it all over my house. And it's a nice way to decompress after a hard day at work. Instead of, you can go pop a beer and sit in your collection room and decompress. And I think that's what we need to get back to, is remembering why we are in this. Why do we collect Star Wars? Why do we collect toys? It's because it makes us happy. It shouldn't be stressful. And it's gotten stressful over the past year because we've had people come in because of all these stimulus checks we've had that, people now have the money to spend, and I get caught up in it. It's keeping up with the Joneses. It's, I need to have this piece because this person has this piece, or I need to do, or I need to have a better collection than this person has because that's what people are expecting. And it's not what people are expecting. They just want to see your collection. They just want to spend time with you. They just want to, get to know you better. That's what I want to do. I just want to spend time with my friends talking Star Wars, talking a 40-year-old movie that was made for 10-year-olds. It wasn't made for 42-year-olds. It's still made for 10-year-olds. But it's, we need to figure out why, break this thing back down to basics again.
Yeah.
Because it's just gotten too stressful, and it's too demanding. It's too much of a hierarchy in the community right now. And it doesn't need to be. It doesn't need to be, hey, I've got this, or hey, I've got that. It needs to be, hey, I've got a Star Wars collection. Do you have a Star Wars collection? Awesome. Let me go look at it. And you enjoy that person's Star Wars collection, and seeing the joy on their face showing you their Star Wars collection is, to me, worth $1 million. It's worth anything over and above, what these pieces of plastic are worth. And it's just, it's really bothered me over the past month, because you do have a hierarchy in this community, and you have people that feel they're above, I don't above Star Wars, but above the hobby. And I'm using this wrong, but, are equal to, or they treated like rock stars, or they want to be treated like rock stars, or they think they're rock stars. And that's not what this is for, man. This isn't, it's not to, you're not in this hobby to be a star. You're in this hobby to collect Star Wars and to be a positive light. That's, and if, that's why the club started, man. It was because I was down in Celebration and had such a high off of 4 days of nothing but Star Wars that it had to happen more than once a year, or once every other year, or once when I could afford to go. It had to happen an hour down the street, an hour from my house, where I was hanging out with 20 or 30 different Star Wars fans that, hey, we all brought a little tote of toys that we could buy, sell, trade, or who cared if that was that, or you brought pictures on your phone of, hey, this is what I, look at my collection, or, hey, you were at somebody's house looking at their collection, or we're at the bar having a beer, talking about, the newest Mandalorian, or talking about the newest releases of modern stuff. That's what we need to get back to. And it's been really hard these past year and a half because we couldn't do it. We did do it virtually, and it worked for a minute. It worked I think worked good for what it was, but it, and we made connections over millions of miles or thousands of miles away. We made good friends with people in New York that I would have never made friends with over this, with Zoom meetings, and it just sucks that this community has broken down into a hierarchy, and it doesn't need to be.
My life changed 11 years ago tonight, and put things in perspective. And I was at the drive-in movie theater and I'm watching Toy Story 3. And it was tough to see Andy give those toys to Bonnie and to play with them one last time and to go off to college to live his life, because it was a way to say goodbye to the things that he held dear to his heart, which were these toys. And that was the death of the childhood. Little did I know at the same time, my father was in a hospital with a burst aorta, and he died that night. This night. And I woke up the next morning and I learned all this information. I had slept through several phone calls to try to wake me up to let me know what was going on. And it changed my life, because life is short. And I lived my life like, I live my life like there's no tomorrow. Sorry, that's my way to diffuse the pain. But you suddenly realize, like, wait, I'm on this blue dot that's just shooting through space. Why am I here? And maybe scientifically it's to procreate, to carry the species, but I don't feel that way. I feel like there's some other reason. I think it's to make connections, and Star Wars is the conduit to making not only those connections, but also to relive the childhood before we had to deal with bills and the news and all the crap that we have to deal with. Star Wars is an easy way to open up a door and to talk to people and find common ground, and to break through the Republican Democrat shit that you see on the TV all the time. It doesn't matter what side you're on. Like, if you're pro-empire or pro-rebellion, like, you meet someone who's pro-empire and you're pro-rebellion, like your favorite character is Luke Skywalker and their favorite character is Darth Vader. You don't give a shit. Sorry for the swearing, but it's just like, you love Star Wars. Why do you like Darth Vader? You don't get angry. You don't get mad. You're making connections with people. But when you start putting those roadblocks, like, well, you only collect modern, or you don't have this, you don't have that, it starts to break down those connections, and you start to make people feel less than they are because they don't have material pieces. When you can't take that stuff with you, you can't take, what are you going to do? Bury yourself with a 12-back? Like, you can't take that with you.
Right.
And so it is trophies on your wall. It's stuff that you've accumulated. It's something that you love. It's your story, but share that story. Don't push people away because they don't have the same story as you. And I really feel like that is happening in the community. It's a dark side of the community that people don't really talk about. And I don't think it should be celebrated. I don't know if celebration is the right word, but I do think that if you're not using a hobby to connect with people, if you're using it to try to climb the ladder and to be to glam on, to ride George Lucas's coattails to fame, like, that's not what this is about. This is just, like you were saying, plastic. You can't take plastic with you. It's not meaningful. It could be melted in a fire. But if you leave, if your house is on fire and you leave, you're still going to have friends. Like, you're still going to have all those connections. And in the end, at the end of the day, that's all that's going to matter, is the connections and the people that you've known and loved. And that's what I took from that experience I had.
Yeah.
11 years ago this night, which I guess got darker than I intended, but this conversation and what's happening to me right now, it blended. And that's part of the reason why I joined the collector communities, because I'm like, I only have one life to live. And yes, I'm collecting Star Wars and I'm putting it in a basement, but if there's people out there like me, we can share this experience together and we can build relationships off of that, because I'm not one who can go out and just go to a bar and start making friends. And I envy those people. My brother-in-law does that. Like, he'll just go out in the street and start talking to people. My stepdad does that. And he can just make conversation. But to me, it's just like, am I offending this person? What did they like? What if they don't like me? What if you don't get that with Star Wars. It's like, what do you collect? Why do you collect that? What's the catalyst for that experience?
Right.
And with
I
that, I take a drink.
That was powerful, dude. But yeah, you're right. You're in this world to make connections. You're not in this. And like we were talking earlier, and you brought up a good point about this just being like the American way is I've got better crap than you got. And, we all get caught up in it. I get caught up in it when you're in somebody's collection and you realize, they got a really awesome collection, but wait a minute, you don't have this. Well, I've got that, and later on you realize you're being a real asshole doing that kind of crap. Because I did that to somebody, and the next day, he's like, I got one. And it just, that was just me being an asshole. And that's not what I want to do. And it was innocent, but it wasn't right,
yeah. But don't beat yourself up, because
No.
the day after I didn't fly to Syracuse, Sunday morning, you reached out and you said, how you doing? And before I even responded to you, I turned to my wife and I said, Glenn's asking how I'm doing. This dude's a friend.
Yeah.
I really appreciated you reaching out and just saying, hey, how you doing? Because I wasn't doing good. I wanted to be in New York. This is not how my weekend was supposed to go. And I really appreciated that. So you're on the right path. Don't beat yourself up too much.
Yeah. No, and yeah, I do consider you a friend, and we've become closer with this podcast. And it's like, I hate to use the word on a whim, but it was like, I saw you with David Quinn doing that podcast for the virtual social. I'm like, this guy knows what he's doing. We could take this and do something with it, and let's see. And it's been 30 or 40 episodes. I don't know. We've been doing it for 6 months, and it's been great. And
more good stuff that comes from Saint David Quinn. Thank you, David.
Yeah.
Whether you realized it or not, you brought us together, and I didn't know that.
Right.
Somehow.
And it was, and it was like the next month or so, you had to meet up at your home. And I'm like, yeah, let's see if this can happen. And it does. And I think we've, and it's just weird because you never know what kind of connections you're going to make in this world through Star Wars, or through anything, man, through anything you collect. And it just, you can't, if there's walls around it and there's just people being assholes, it's not going to help. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And it sucks when you have somebody new come into the community and people, aren't welcoming them with open arms. You don't have to do like, you don't have to be like, put your guard down, if you don't know them, whatever, but don't be an asshole to them. Don't, I'm not saying go get ripped off by somebody or rip a new person off, but they just want to collect Star Wars, man. That's all they're here for.
Yeah. I saw something today. No, was it yesterday, the day before, that is what I tried. It's what I need to play in my head when I meet someone new. It's don't be judgmental, be curious. Because now I don't really judge them. I judge myself. Like, did you just say the right thing? How are you acting? They think you're stupid because you're not answering the question, or you didn't shake their hand right away. You waited a few seconds. You hesitated. It's be curious. What is it about them? Learn about them, explore, be curious, create relationships, create something new, work with your hands. I don't know, write a story. Those are the things that it's all me, but that's what's going on in my head. And it's be curious. Don't be judgmental.
Right. That's the number one thing.
That's really what we got to get to. Yeah.
Yeah. Figure out why they're collecting Star Wars. You'll figure out how they, how they found the community, how they found the website, how they found the, the meetup, that they just happen to be walking by and see a bunch of Star Wars toys and say, what's going on in there? And they walk in. You know, you can meet your new best friend with that way. It's just, you can't shut yourself out from some of these experiences. And you know, yeah, it's again, it's just, you got to remember that for the time when you first saw Star Wars. Remember the time you last saw Star Wars. Remember the time that, you know, for me, the end of Rebels, you know, how did Star Wars make you feel? That's why we do this.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, are we chasing a high? Yeah, we're chasing a high. You know, as far as collecting goes, but we're also chasing a high, you know, meeting new people and making friends and connections, because eventually all these connections are going to lead to something good, and you can't shut people out of your life, man, by being a jerk.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I don't think anybody out there is bigger than Star Wars.
No. George likes to think he is, but he's not.
No, even George Lucas isn't bigger than Star Wars.
It feels like he thinks that he's in control of the ship, but he lost control, and he's frustrated with that because, I mean, I think he says Star Wars is for 6-year-olds is an insult for the people who took it away from him.
Right.
And saying you guys are 40 years old and you shouldn't be liking a thing for 6-year-olds, which it's like, well, you made something that's pretty universal that works on different levels for different ages. I mean, you made it during the middle of the Vietnam War when people just wanted to just escape that crap. And it's just kind of resonated with people for a long, long time.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyways, have a good week. No.
I don't know
Be
where
a
else.
Positive force.
I think everybody needs to strive to be a positive force in the community. And if you're not, fuck it. Everybody be a positive force in the community. That's the best words I can give, you know, and don't be an asshole, because we don't need assholes. We got too many of them in the world.
Yeah. You're gonna come across, I mean, let's be real, you're gonna come across those, and if you want to protect the hobby, just try to, I would say, just always be curious, don't be judgmental. I would say those are words that I've kind of learned this week, and I hope to carry with me when I get nervous and I feel like I'm more harsh on myself than I think other people are on me.
Right.
And I think always just don't be judgmental against yourself, and don't be judgmental against other people. Be curious. And always have that curious spark. And if there's something you can do to bring people together, do it.
Right.
I had painted that painting in the group, the live painting, and it's going to the Pennsylvania group for charity. And I'm not saying that to you know, I don't try to do that without ego, but you know, I'm just saying that as I was bored one night, I created a painting, and the Pennsylvania group was like, "Hey, we're putting on an art show and we're trying to raise funds for charity. Of course, take it, you know.
That's awesome.
You guys can make money off of it, do it." And so I'm just saying, like, sometimes when you go down a path, that curious path will take you to places you didn't intentionally realize. And so for me, being bored 1 hour, being depressed that I'm not in New York, painting, just by being creative and being curious about how it might look like if I played with some oranges and some pinks, will now help someone in charity. Or not in charity, but will help a charity for people who need it.
Right.
I'm exhausted and drunk. I started this podcast saying I don't get drunk. I've had 2 drinks and now I'm feeling it.
Awesome.
Because I called it. Because I said that it happened.
Right.
But it was a tough topic to talk about.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, but yeah, it was, we knew we were going to have issues with this, getting through it, because it's hard. It's hard to talk about how things are going in the hobby and bringing up
the dark side.
The dark side of it.
People don't want to talk about it. I'm sure people think it, and I'm sure people feel it, but I feel like people don't want to express it.
Right. Exactly. Well, I did, while we were talking, somebody on Instagram, RTM 1998. I don't know who you are. I probably could click on your picture and figure out Trace Malden.
Okay.
I guess you follow us on Instagram.
Hey, Trace.
So thank you, Trace. His question on Instagram was, what's your favorite way that you personally, or that you've seen loose vintage figures displayed? Or we could just say loose figures.
Yeah. I don't know, because, Chance at Second Chance Toys, he displays it as a scene. So he'll put all of the Return of the Jedi figures together, or maybe Jabba's Palace stuff together, and then, but also Narayan has everything together where he's got all of his variants kind of displayed in a row, so you can look at them and you can see the variants. And so I think it's all personal preference, and I think it tells a lot about the collector. We're talking about getting to know people, and that's your way into asking them some questions. I really do like the way that, I don't know, like Lewis, like he displays his stuff in a custom made case that looks like a card back.
Right.
And so I don't know, like there's just be creative, I guess. I don't know.
The creative.
I don't have an answer to that.
Yeah. I mean, there's not a right answer. I mean, I would say, if you're going to start from scratch, and if you're going to do like a tiered display, really invest in some acrylic risers. You can get them from Ian Sanderson. They're $50 maybe, depending on the size you want. And when I made that step up, it brought my collection to life, because the light goes through them very well. That's one of my favorite ways, is when I see a good acrylic riser. I really like that. But then I also like the dioramas that people make. Narayan's got a few awesome dioramas in his collection, that he's taken time and curated. Just a good curated collection. I mean, the easiest answer is the acrylic risers. But when you see a good curated collection that people have taken the time and they group they're thinking things out, and they're grouping stuff together, and they're trying to make a scene, and it's just a beautiful thing. And it's very rare that you see somebody that, there's very few collectors that have taken the time to do that, to do a very good curated, that they've, planned the room out from scratch, and, really, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I've only seen one or two that I've been like, oh my gosh, but easy answers. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's something to that mustard yellow card back, and Orion did that, and it looks like Lewis did that with his display. Putting that behind the figures just makes it pop.
Right. There's
an iconic look, I would say. I wouldn't say icon. It's an iconic look because it's the card back, and that was carried over for quite a while in the line. And when I see figures displayed that way, it just takes you back to that childhood. And I would never tell someone, well, your display doesn't look good because it doesn't have the card back look. There is something to that, I would say, though, that strikes a chord.
All right.
I like
awesome. That was great.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's been a tough topic. Thanks for sticking around, man. We actually, it was hard on us. Hopefully it comes across. You guys enjoyed listening to our take on it. Thanks for listening, man. If you guys can leave a review on iTunes, that would be awesome. That helps us out. You can email us at, that's what I want. I want to hear your thoughts. Email us, give us your thoughts on the topic. You guys can email us at smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com. We'll read them on the air. We'll give you some answers. This may be a topic that we bring back up in a few weeks, few months, if we get some good emails, and we can bring it back up. Cause I think it's a continuous topic in the hobby, and it's something that, needs to be discussed. and be more of an open forum, I think. But yeah, email us smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com. You can find me on Cajun Fett on Instagram. And Jason, how can they find you?
They can find me at wasolco.com. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Just leave us a review.
Yes.
Forget what. That's great. You can send Glenn all the emails you want, but at the end of the day, if you could just leave us a review, because that is the way that we get ahead and we can grow the show. We're really not doing this to get money. At least I'm not. We're just talking about Star Wars, and the more people who leave a review will trip the algorithms and get Apple to push us higher and possibly grow the show. And you know, just, I don't know. We were just talking about hierarchy. What difference does it make if our show's number 1 or number 2 or number 3,000? I don't know. Just leave a review and don't leave us a review. It doesn't matter. Enjoy the show. I mean, just go to work and have a great day. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I want you to go to work today after you finish listening to this podcast, and I want you to have a great day. And I want you to make the difference for someone in the day today. I don't know if that's just giving me a compliment or going to the printer and picking up their prints and bringing it back to them. Just do something that helps someone else.
Be that positive light we talked about in somebody's life, and it'll go a long way.
You only got one life. And at the end of the day, the plastic doesn't matter. And I need some water. Maybe we need to wrap this up.
Yes. Don't.
This is the way.
This is the way.